Warner Brothers has screened James Gunn's Suicide Squad. There are some spoilers I wanted to talk about, but also people are saying this is maybe one of the best comic book movies of all time. What? What's up, everybody? It's Josh. Welcome back to the channel. Smash that like button. Let's get right into this report. Now, look, this is coming out from a ton of different places, from different insiders or people that are close to insiders, but it is confirmed that Warner Brothers did do a screening for James Gunn's Suicide Squad. Apparently, this happened yesterday morning. It was a test screening, so they were looking to change things. They likely still will change things based on the results that they get from this test screening and other test screenings. But man, the word is this film is absolutely incredible. So some people are saying that this is James Gunn's best movie. That's what I'm hearing out there. This is literally James Gunn's best movie. I'm also hearing some other people say this might be one of the best comic book movies of all time.
What did you say?
Now, look, that's high praise, and like I said, they're probably going to change the movie, and, you know, as some people rightfully point out, even BVS, when BVS was being screened, there were people out there saying this was the best comic book movie of all time, okay? So you have to take all of this stuff with a grain of salt, but I'll tell you what we're not saying in this report. There is literally nobody out there saying that this movie is bad, or that there's this major problem with it, or that it needs changed. All of the buzz on this is super freaking positive. Now, I want to talk about one more thing before we get into spoilers, so if you're trying to stay spoiler free, it's all good. Like, we'll warn you properly when all of that stuff comes up. But what I want to say is, during DC Fandom, I was actually quite surprised by the behind-the-scenes footage of the Suicide Squad. I had assumed this was going to be kind of a smaller movie, that it was going to be focused on, you know, some kind of job, some kind of mystery, like very much on rails for that one adventure. But from what we saw from the behind-the-scenes footage, this movie's like kind of sprawling. This is a big movie. It seems to take place in multiple different locations along a long timeline, and some of the spoiler stuff that we're going to get into does indicate that to be the case. And so, final word to my non-spoilery people out there, James Gunn's Suicide Squad is apparently amazing. It might be his best work, might be one of the best comic book movies of all time. It is a very big movie. It does not just focus on a small group of characters doing a singular mission. It's apparently a very, very big film, so there's plenty of reason to be hyped going into James Gunn's Suicide Squad. All right, spoilers. We're not going to go too deep on spoilers, but it is worth indicating that one of the biggest things that people were talking about, one of the biggest theories after DC Fandom, is indeed correct. That Starro is going to play a big part in this movie and more or less be the big villain of the film. And if you don't know who Starro is essentially a big old starfish alien thing that puts little starfish alien things on the faces of people to mind control them and take them over. I'm not kidding. That's totally who he is. And this gives DC all kinds of cool stuff that they can do in this movie, and you can be damn sure that James Gunn is going to take advantage of that. And this could even, well, you know, without getting too crazy into potential spoilers, it is possible you could see other high-profile DC heroes in this movie being corrupted by the starfish from Starro and then having to fight the Suicide Squad members. This also gives the opportunity for this film to be sort of backdropped against an epic, like, Justice League level event with all kinds of crazy stuff happening all over the globe. Like, it could be very insane what is happening, and that gives just beautiful opportunities for the story to go in all sorts of crazy ways. There are also spoilers about who Taika Waititi is playing. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. It seems like a fun thing, and to be honest with you, like, my overall take here is this is a super positive thing for DC. I hope more spoilers don't come out. We'll try to be careful about them as they do, but overall, I went from not being very excited for James Gunn's Suicide Squad. After DC Fandom, I was like, wow, that looks pretty cool. And then hearing this buzz from the supposed screening that happened, just taking it to a whole nother level, man. DC really does seem to be on the rise. And, you know, last thing I'll say in this vid is there is actually a theory that was proposed by Trinity from Second Street Marvel, friend of the channel. If you've never checked out Trinity, he does a lot of really cool comic book reviews and also live streams that are very, very enjoyable. But one of the things he said was that he believed that James Gunn may have put the bug in the ear of Warner Brothers for their multiverse stuff. And I will say this. I think the multiverse plans were already on the table. The Flash people were talking about how they've been talking about this for years, but I do agree that they probably counseled with James Gunn. And he's such a sweaty. Like, say what you will about James Gunn, and I have some feelings about James, but he's definitely like a super big nerd, and he knows comic books well, and he could have helped the suits, helped the people over at Warner Brothers better understand what to do to get some of that MCU magic and to really adapt comic books well. So James Gunn potentially gave DC not only a huge gift in the Suicide Squad, likely being awesome, but potentially helped them figure out some other stuff that's just overall going to make DC films better. So I don't know how to feel about that. And if you're a Marvel fan, I am curious, what do you think of that theory? And let us know your thoughts about the Suicide Squad test screening and it being awesome and Starro being the villain. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And now let's shout out Tim Sanderson. Yes, indeed, the movie John Boyega is doing with Steve McQueen is called Small Axe. And now let's ask another nerd card question before we get out of here. I want to know, what comic book did Starro first appear in DC Comics? If you like this video, make sure you drop a like on it. And if you're liking the content over here, you will absolutely love the live streams we do straight from Nerdvengers Tower Monday through Friday, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.